you if it doesn't apply to today. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield. In the hotel that I'm staying at, I found out is the hotel where Dr. Martin Luther King finished his speech. But it's also a place where someone else wrote something. The Battle Hymn of the Republic, written here, in a hotel just down the street, because you could see over the buildings at that time. They weren't so high. And you could see, and they watched the battle. That's where the Battle Hymn of the Republic, here, was written. This is a great battlefield, filled with warriors on each side. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that this nation might live. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men and women, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never be forgotten what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work that they have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us here to be dedicated now to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall have not died in vain. That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. And we must decide, are those words that Abraham Lincoln spoke, and they have no relevance or meaning on us today? America is at a crossroads, and today we must decide, who are we? What is it we believe? We must advance or perish. I choose advance. I invite you today to go in and read the second inaugural. Abraham Lincoln found God in the scars of Gettysburg. He was baptized and gave the second inaugural. He looked to God and set men free. America awakens again. It's the same story throughout history, all of mankind's history. Man finds himself in slavery. And then someone appears to wake America up. It was George Whitefield in the 1740s, an imperfect man, a man who actually, at the same time was preaching individual rights, brought more slavery to this land. But it was his words that inspired an American generation. They were children at the time. They grew into be John Adams, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. It happens the same way. It has since the burning bush. Moses, freedom, and then they forget. They wander until they remember that God is the answer. He always has been. And then they begin to trust. Do you know what kind of trust there must have been if you were in bondage in ancient Egypt and you were crying out to the Almighty, send us someone to free us. And a man shows up with a stick. Don't you think they said, you got it, kid?